Let's move on to talking about certificate formats and OpenSSL. Now, there are various formats for encoding a certificate as a digital file for exchange between different systems. Now, when it comes to encoding itself, cryptographic data, which is usually certificates and keys, are processed as binary using distinguished encoding rules, DER. And that's an example right there. However, binary format files are not very common, so the binary data is typically represented as ASCII text using the base64 privacy enhanced electronic mail PEM encoding. Now, when it comes to file extensions, for the exam, please keep in mind that a 3-character file extension is typically called a convention and not a standard. So both .der and .pem, they can be used as file extensions, although .pem isn't recognized by Windows, but it's the most widely used extension for ASCII files in Linux. Now, the .crt and .cer extensions can also be used, but they are not well standardized. Now, when it comes to the content itself, a certificate can actually contain more than just the certificate itself. You do have the PKCS number 12 format, which would allow the export of the private key along with the certificate. Now, on Windows, these kinds of formats typically will have the .pfx extension, while on the Mac OS and iOS, they will use .p12. But you also have another format, the P7B. This implements the PKCS number 7, which is a means of building multiple certificates in the same file. So an actual certificate can have multiple certificates in it. So this is most often used to deliver a chain of certificates that must be trusted by the processing host. Now, OpenSSL for Linux certificate authority services are typically implemented using the OpenSSL suite, and many operations can also be accomplished using its commands. Now, speaking of the commands in here, there's a few of them. First of all, whenever you're trying to configure a root certificate authority in Linux, the key pair will first of all need to be created. Now, there is a possibility that in the exam, they might give you a line of code, such as what you see right now, and they might ask you, okay, what exactly is this code meant to do? From the first one in here, you can see it says OpenSSL GEN-RSA. Whenever you see GEN, that means we're asking the code to generate a pair of keys. All right, so whenever you see GEN, just keep that in mind. That's generate. Right here, the AES-256, that would be the actual encryption standard, and then the 4096 at the end would represent the key length. All right, now once the key pair has been created, the next step will be to use that pair to generate a self-signed root.x509 digital certificate. And that is the long code right down there. You can recognize that by the -new -x509. That's how you can tell that, okay, this is used for generating a self-signed root. Now, to configure the certificate on a host, we need to create a certificate signing request first with the new key pair. And right there, you can see it says OpenSSL request nodes new key RSA2048, and then you have the .csr extension right there telling you that, okay, we're trying to create a certificate signing request. Now, once this is done, the file must then be transmitted to the certificate authority server. And right there, you can see -extensions web server. So that should tell you that, okay, this key right now is being transmitted over to the web server. And then we can check the certificate either by the OpenSSL X509 no out text or OpenSSL verify verbose CA file, and then the actual extensions right there. Now, when it comes to the key and certificate management, you could choose to export a copy of your private key from a server to be held in escrow as a backup. The key must first be password protected, and right there, that is the code. You can see the standard right there is AES-256. And then the following command, which you see right now, can be used to make the certificate compatible with an application server like Java. You can see right there SY0-701-outform DER. That should be the signal that, okay, we're trying to make this particular certificate compatible with other applications like Java. And then another use case would be to export the key and certificate for use in Windows. And you can easily identify that by the word export in the code below. So just to give you a quick recap, like I said, in the exam, they might provide you with a line of code and then they will ask you, okay, what is this code meant to do? I have given you the several hints on how you can tell what that code is meant to do. So please do revise this particular area properly. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next class.